Hey everyone, it's Carolyn. Welcome back to Contemporary Mama. Today's video is another what's for dinner while quarantined. I know so many of us are cooking way more than usual, so I have 5 amazing, fast, easy, but delicious dinner recipes to share with you that you can whip up any night of the week. So let's head on into my kitchen and I'll show you what I've got cooking. For dinner number 1, I am making a regular and low-carb version of lasagna roll-ups. This was so good and filling and pretty easy too. I'm starting by preheating my oven to 400 and having a large pot of water come to a boil. For this, I'm going to be using some Italian sausage. You could substitute any meat you want, ground beef or ground turkey maybe, but sausage is super flavorful. So I'm just adding that to a hot pan and breaking it up until it's completely browned. Then I'm just going to grab my lasagna noodles and add that to my pot of boiling water, cooking those until they're al dente. You can use as many noodles as lasagna rolls you want to make. And by now my meat is all browned up, so I'm just putting that in a bowl and setting it aside. It's going to cool a little bit while I work on my produce. So I have about 3 or 4 garlic cloves that I just minced up. And then I also grabbed a red bell pepper and I chopped up about half of that. And I'm also going to be dicing up half of a medium-sized onion. When I'm all done chopping up my produce, I'm going to add that to the same saute pan I cooked the meat in and stir that around and let it cook until the vegetables have softened. Now, while those veggies are cooking, I'm going to be working on my version of the lasagna rolls, and I'm going to be using portobello mushroom caps in place of the lasagna noodles. This is a great option if you want to make a low-carb dinner and have it super packed with veggies. So I just grabbed these large portobello mushroom caps. They work great for stuffing in with lasagna mixture. And I cleaned those out, and now I'm just adding some fresh spinach to my saute pan and letting that cook down. The basil in my garden is already looking pretty good, so I grabbed some leaves of that and I'm just slicing that up. By now, all my vegetables are finished cooking, so I'm adding that to the sausage mixture with some basil, as well as a 15-ounce container of ricotta cheese. Now I'm also going to crack in an egg and add a handful of Parmesan cheese before I stir this mixture up, and this is going to be the stuffing for my lasagna roll-ups. So once you've mixed that all up, you can just go ahead and stuff that in the portobello mushroom caps if you are planning on using that. And if mushrooms just aren't your thing, no worries, you can use your lasagna noodles instead. So you just want to top that with some marinara sauce and a big sprinkle of mozzarella cheese, and then your portobello mushroom caps are good to go in the oven. But if you're using the lasagna noodles, all you need to do is grab a couple tablespoons of your cheese mixture and just spread that out over the lasagna noodle and just roll it up into a ball. I forgot to show it on here, but I did top my lasagna roll-ups with marinara and mozzarella cheese as well. These are going to bake in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes until they're nice and heated through and your cheese is melted. I served mine with a side of garlic toast and a sprinkle of basil on top for garnish. Dinner idea number 2, I am making the Skinny Taste egg roll bowls tonight. As you can tell, I love Skinny Taste recipes, but over the years I have come to modify this recipe a lot. So it's sort of become my own. Now, the biggest thing that I do to change up this recipe is instead of shredding up cabbage and carrots on my own, I take a big shortcut and time saver and I just buy a bag of coleslaw mix. This is seriously gonna save you so much time and get dinner on the table in a flash. So usually I buy 2 of these. I Don't know why, I forgot. I only bought one, but I do have this bag of broccoli slaw left over from my meal prep. So I'm gonna be just throwing this in to bulk it up a little bit. So since I'm using this coleslaw mix, there really isn't a lot to prep for this meal, so it does come together really fast. So the one thing I do have to do is slice up my mushrooms. I'll probably use about half of this 8-ounce package. Dice up half of an onion, and then this is not in the recipe, but I like throwing in water chestnuts. You can get these in like the Asian section of your grocery store. So I'm going to drain those and slice them up. And then I love using this frozen ginger. You guys have seen this a bunch on my channel, but this is going to save me a lot of time too. I'll just throw in a couple of those instead of mincing up fresh ginger. Oh, and garlic. I gotta grab my garlic. 2 cloves of garlic. Now the original recipe calls for ground pork, but since we had sausage last night, I thought I would use ground turkey instead just to lighten it up. And I'm gonna be browning this in this pan and getting it about halfway browned before I add in a little soy sauce and my onion, garlic, and ginger. So this is my onions, garlic, and ginger ready to go in. Those will cook for about 3 minutes until they start to soften. Now this is delicious served over brown rice, but I have had this in my freezer for quite a while. So I'm just gonna go ahead and microwave this and serve my egg roll mixture over this cauliflower and broccoli rice. So now it is time to throw in the rest of the ingredients. So for me, that is my coleslaw mixture, or cabbage and carrots if you don't want to use coleslaw. The rest of my vegetables, they are the sliced mushrooms, and then I throw in those water chestnuts and edamame. So this is just going to cook for a few minutes. It's kind of going to wilt and cook down a smidge, and then we'll give it a little more seasoning. This is why it's really important to use a really big pan. So this is almost done cooking. It needs more seasoning for sure. So I'm going to throw in a few tablespoons of soy sauce. And then I'm also going to give a big drizzle of sesame oil. Let me take off that. My husband and I both love sesame oil. And then another drizzle of Chinese rice wine. And then I'll just stir this up and give it a taste and see if it's seasoned enough to my liking before I serve it over that cauliflower rice. So it is all done. I'm just giving a nice generous scoop to put over that cauliflower rice, and then I am just going to top it with some of those chopped scallions and a little sprinkle of sesame seeds. This is a great veggie packed dinner with tons of protein. It's low carb and really delicious and filling. I hope you give it a try. And here it is close up. How good does that look? Dinner idea number 3 are these Mediterranean meatball gyros. Yes, I know that's not how you say gyro, but I'm American, so give me a break. These came together super fast because I used small frozen meatballs, and I think that these tasted amazing, so I don't even mind that I didn't make them myself. So I just poured them onto a baking sheet, and then I just baked them into the oven according to the directions on the package. While those meatballs were cooking, I went ahead and prepped my produce. So I am using bell pepper, cucumbers, and tomato. So with my gyros, I'm going to be serving a Greek salad. So I made sure to cut up enough produce to both top my gyro and to add to my Greek salad. The only other ingredients you're going to need are some tzatziki, some crumbled feta cheese, and either naan or pita bread. I love getting mine from Aldi. They make the best and softest naan bread. So to assemble it, I'm just going to start by adding some spinach, or you could add lettuce to the bottom of your naan bread and then top it with as many meatballs as your heart desires. I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of the chopped vegetables before topping it with a sprinkle of feta cheese and a giant scoop of tzatziki. I absolutely love that stuff. And seriously, that is it. Your gyro is all ready to be eaten. It is extra delicious if you warm up the pita bread. It really makes it soft and just extra tasty. So I highly recommend you trying that. So now that my gyro is all done, I'm just going to go ahead and assemble my Greek salad. I just have some chopped romaine lettuce, and then I'm adding that produce that's already chopped up, and then again adding a sprinkle of feta cheese, and then of course some Kalamata olives. It's just not a Greek salad without that. And seriously, that is it. How bright, colorful, and delicious does this meal look? It was so tasty. I absolutely love Greek food, but my favorite Greek restaurant has been closed this entire quarantine, so this was just going to have to suffice. Dinner number 4 is one of my all-time favorite recipes to make. It's a teriyaki salmon with a side of bacon green beans. So it's a little after 3, and I want to go ahead and get my salmon marinated so it'll be super flavorful by dinner time. So I have a little over a pound of salmon, and then this is my very favorite marinade. It's the very teriyaki. This stuff tastes amazing, and it is my favorite way to marinate salmon. I just think it tastes so good. So to go along with our salmon, I am going to be making some bacon green beans as a nice little side dish. So I'm just going to cut up this bacon into small pieces, and I'm gonna fry that up. And then I have this bag of frozen green beans that I'm gonna cook along with it. Oven's preheated. I just flipped over my salmon, and I'm just gonna try and like spoon the marinade on top of it as much as I can. And then I like sprinkling some panko breadcrumbs on top. Just think it gives the salmon a nice little crunchy topping. So I just sprinkle a little bit on top there. And then we like our salmon pretty well done, so I bake this for about 30 minutes, and then while that's baking, I'll get my green beans going. So when your salmon is cooked to your liking and you're plating it up, make sure that you give a drizzle of the cooked sauce over the top. This gives it a really nice appearance and also makes it extra tasty. And then I served it alongside a giant scoop of those bacon green beans. These were delicious. If you're still watching, thank you. This is dinner number 5. It is a gorgeous sunny day outside, so I'm gonna have my husband grill tonight. So I am gonna be making these sirloin steak tips. This is one of my favorite cuts of steak, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get these marinated, and this is one of my favorite marinades. It's also delicious if you want to marinate chicken or pork. It makes amazing flavorful fajita meat. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour it all in the bowl so I can let this marinate for several hours. Okay, so what I got going on here is 1/3 cup of soy sauce and then 1/2 cup of olive oil. I found this olive oil at my grocery store. They're awesome about seasonal products. So it's a lemon flavored olive oil, or limoncello actually. So that gives it some nice citrus flavor. So next I have 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Hopefully that's how you say it. And then you can use lemon or lime juice, about 1/3 cup. I did a little bit less because of that flavored olive oil. I didn't want it to be too overpowering, but I didn't have any lemons, so I used limes, but that'll be fine. Then I minced up a few garlic cloves, and then in this little bowl I have some white pepper, some dried parsley, a pinch of cayenne, and some fresh basil. I usually use dried, but I didn't have any, so I just grabbed some from my garden. So that goes in here. So now I just need to whisk this up, and then I'm gonna put my steak tips in there and let them marinate all afternoon, and they're gonna be so yummy and flavorful. And this marinade works with pretty much any meat. Seriously, just put anything in there and it's gonna make it taste amazing. So I figured since my husband is already gonna have the grill out, then we might as well make some veggie kebabs to go along with them. So this is just the produce that I had in my fridge. I haven't been grocery shopping in over a week, so I figure I better use it up. So I just have this giant zucchini, 1/2 of a pepper, some portobello mushrooms, and cherry tomatoes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these up and stick them on my skewers. The last thing I'm gonna make is this mashed cauliflower. This is available in the frozen section of the grocery store. So all I need to do is pop this in the microwave and it's gonna go great with the steaks. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you got some great ideas on what to make for dinner this week. I would absolutely love for you to leave me a comment down below letting me know what you have been cooking in this quarantine, because I could use some dinner inspiration as well. It's really hard to come up with stuff every single night of the week. So I would love it for you to share some of your ideas with me. As always, if you make any of these recipes, please head on over to Instagram and tag me. I love it when you guys share my recipes over there. It makes me super happy. So again, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on Tuesday with another brand new video. I'm gonna be sharing how I did my DIY balayage highlights. So make sure that you stay tuned and subscribe so you don't miss that. Have a great weekend. Bye guys.
Get rid of all your sorrow.